The word I would use is roller coaster.
Okay.
It's roller coaster. There's been highs and then there's been some valleys for AEW. Not lows, but some valleys.
Mhm.
I'll put it to you this way for brevity. There's been hits and misses with AEW. See if you agree with any of these. The hits have been the pay-per-view. We talk all the time glowingly about how AEW does their pay-per-view business, which is just amazing. They've been able to sell out 2 stadiums in the UK. That's pretty good for the number 2 brand in professional wrestling. Pretty damn good.
Yep.
That every time you have a pay-per-view, it's a good crowd, and also it's a emphatic crowd, but also you are getting, you want a pay-per-view, he's giving you pay-per-view quality matches. So that's a hit. I think that the pay-per-view quality matches on Dynamite also a positive in the right direction. I'd also say that it's a hit that you got yourself a TV streaming deal. After 5 years, and we celebrate AEW Dynamite for 5 years, and now because of that, they got themselves a deal 3 years plus an option, right, Brian?
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and pay-per-view will be on Max starting in 2025 at a discounted rate. That's all they've said so far.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, streaming, it'll be on TNT, but it'll also be streaming on Max. For me, like the phrase I use is refreshing and changing. Like as much as we glowingly talk about Hunter and what he's done for the WWE, in the exact same timeline of him eventually taking over, if there's no AEW, the WWE is not doing what it's doing today. They're still just coasting by. They're still making fart jokes, and they're still doing the Vince humor and things like that. They were forced to up their games because of AEW. And all the things you mentioned, I agree, they're all wins. And it's fun on a Wednesday night to turn on TV and to see a Ricochet and Ospreay, to see Bryan Danielson and Okada just randomly on a Wednesday night. Like, that is fun. Some of the stuff, yes, there are going to be misses. That's what happens when you have that much TV every week. But overall, like, it's still my favorite wrestling of the week. And as a wrestling fan, I love having AEW in our lives.
AEW is great for the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care listen, you fan how you want to fan. If you're a wrestling fan, you think AEW sucks or you think WWE sucks. It all is a good thing that we have wrestling on our TV. Right. It's all great. Whether you are thumbs down or thumbs up, it doesn't matter. Is that the genre wins. Right. That wrestling wins. Like AEW, putting the quality matches they put on is a good thing. Those are the hits. The misses,
well, I would also add to that real fast, like in terms of it being a good thing, Daniel Garcia on this show talked about how AEW existing is great for pro wrestlers. Yeah. He is the perfect example of that. He is someone that would have hit a ceiling in the indies, and if he wanted to go to the WWE to get a paycheck, he could, but he'd be forgotten about. Now, he built a name for himself in AEW, and there's essentially a bidding war for a guy like that. That's because there is a viable second option, and that's good for all the wrestlers involved.
Some people are either didn't live with this or don't remember. I know that some wrestling fans have a short memory. Does anybody remember what wrestling was like after WCW closed the doors? You know how bad that was?
So bad.
Yeah, you know how bad that was, where you could not fix the invasion situation, or as far as bringing WCW talent into WWE. Some of those veterans did not want to. They wanted to stay home. They did not want to wrestle for Vince. And so at that time, they were spinning their wheels. It was not good TV. Mm-hmm. I think, and people just think that having one wrestling company dominating and then having just indies is good. It's not good. No. I remember it. It sucked. Right. To the point where I had to walk away from it for a while until we get Ruthless Aggression, you get John Cena, then you kind of still weren't buying in, but then it got better. And it's like, okay, but I mean, you talk about a valley. WWE was in a tough spot thinking, well, we bought WCW for $2.5 million. Yeah, but the WWE sucked. Right. It still wasn't very good.
Same exact boat of the like, I don't want to watch this every week. Like stepping away, not watching PLEs. They're like, hey, it's free on the networks. Like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't want to watch that. That's how bad it was. And that's why, ultimately the Ring of Honors of the world sort of filled that void a little bit for wrestling fans like us. But AEW from day one said they are for that lapsed fan. And I think to this day, they still are. Like, they still are drawing in that person that wants to watch pro wrestling. And that's good for everyone.
I think some of the misses for the 5 years of AEW, I say roller coaster. So that means you had highs. And the reason why you had highs is because Vince was still booking. Right. And because of what you just laid out. Vince was booking and he just took it for granted. He's been, by the way, many times Vince as a booker was taking wrestling for granted. But what happened was ultimately, there's 3 things I have. But the number one thing is what you said, Brian, that the WWE got better under Triple H. It just got better. See, AEW is doing well because Vince was booking, and people said, "I'm tired of this.
Right.
I never get my money's worth. It's bad booking. I'm going to go over here and see what's going on across the street."
Mm-hmm.
And so people went from the McDonald's to the Wendy's and said, "This Wendy's is cool," and that's
Right.
AEW. That's what happened. They said, "This Wendy's is really good." And so that's why they went across the street. And because of that, people said, all these matches are great. All these personalities, all this wrestling action. Let's talk more action. This is great. And so that's why the WWE got better and said, okay, we're going to start doing a better job of giving the fans what they want. That's what Triple H does. And that's why I think AEW struggled. Because now people that went to AEW said, oh, WWE's straightening their act out. Okay, let me go back to the McDonald's. I think that's what happened.